In this video, we're comparing tables, graphs, and equations in different situations. In this situation, I'm selling candy and making a certain amount of money. So I'm trying to figure out in A, B, and C how much I'm making for each unit of candy sold. So each one of these is going to give me the same ratio. When I divide my money by my number of items, I get $1.26. Over here, if I divide my money by the number of items, I get $1.24. Go ahead and check my work as we go. And for this one, if I divide each of my money by my candy items sold, I get $1.25. So let's order these from least to greatest, because that's what they ask us to do up here. Least to greatest. Which is my cheapest candy that I'm selling? The answer is C. So C is less than, and B is the next one, which is less than my greatest, which is A. So this right here should be my answer. Let's look at another one, and this time let's look at equations. Okay, here I've got the slope in each of the equations. Remember, this is y equals mx form, where the constant rate is your m, or your slope. So 2/3, if I write that as a decimal, it's a 6 repeating. 3/2 is 1.5, and 5/4 is 1.25. So we need to again order them from the least to the greatest. So when I do that, my least this time is A. A is the smallest, B at $1.25 is the next one, and C at 1.5 or $1.50 is the next one. So if these were candy again, I'd be paying 60 cents per piece of candy, or 66 repeating cents, so technically 67 cents. For this piece of candy, $1.25 and $1.50. Now let's look at all three combined. We're trying to figure out which of these are the greatest slopes. Okay, so we've got a graph, we've got an equation, and we've got a table. So, and then they want us to figure out the least. Well, if we look here, 42 is my slope in A. Here, we'd have to divide each one of these respectively, and when we do so, we get 40.6. If we look at this one, it's rising 40 and running 1, so my slope is 40 over 1. Just to check my work, it's also rising 80 and running 2, which again is 40 over 1, or just 40. So if we compare these, we've got 40, we've got 42, and 40 and 6/10. So which of the slopes is the greatest? A is the greatest at a slope of 42, and the slope that is the least is C at 40. Go ahead and try this one for me and see what you think is the greatest and the least. Go ahead and order them for me like we did in the first two questions. So let me know from the least to the greatest your perspective. Okay? I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. All right, so here we go. The least of these guys is my table, because if we look here, 82 divided by 4, 164 divided by 8, and 246 divided by 12 all give me 20 and 5/10. So B is my least. If we look over here, oh, I take that back. C is your least at 20 over 1, because if you rise 20 and you run 1, it's only 20, and $20.50 is greater than 20, so I apologize. So it's C is greater than B, or is less than B, which is less than A, because A is 21 as its slope. Let's look at some more. Compare the scenarios to determine which train has the greater speed. Be sure to include unit rates in your explanation. Okay, so go ahead and take a look at these. Which train is the greatest? Which train is your least? Let's order them and make sure we have our unit rates in our explanation. I want full, complete sentence answers. All right, so here's what I would do. First, looking at train A, you know it's rising 90 and running 2. So 90 divided by 2 is 45. Over here, train B is at 47, so that is its slope. And if we look at train C, we are dividing each one of these by its respective, and we get 41. So if we were looking at this, we would write train C travels 41 miles per hour, which is less than train A that travels 45 miles per hour, which is less than train B who travels 47 miles per hour. So we wrote in a complete sentence answer, and all of our unit rates are shown. Make sure that you circle them for me. Okay, let's try this one. I'll be back in just a second to show you the answer, so pause the video for me. Okay, here we go. Let's look at A, B, and C. We're trying to figure out the trees and their heights over a given amount of time. I take that back. Don't worry about this one. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you next time.